I want to have a special edition today talking with Todd Steen, our ruminant nutritionist, about some additions and changes and updates to our Co-op cattle mineral line. I think you'll be excited to hear what we've changed and the updates and some things that are exciting about the Co-op mineral line. So with that, Todd, let's talk about some of the updates that have been made, some of the reasons behind that, some of the reasons why we would want to do some of the things that have been done. So first of all, let's talk about the package. You see the package in the frame right here. The package is going to be phasing in over time. So just tell us a little bit about the new package.
Well, we think we have a better bag, a better quality bag. I know in the past, sometimes with these poly bags, they have a little tendency to rip where the sewing was done. These bags won't do that. They're easy for the end user to rip open and dump in the feeders or dump wherever they're going to put their mineral. But we think we have a better quality bag, and it will allow us to do it at a better cost as well, too.
So, and I would make this comment about the package as well, is you will notice, and maybe you can't tell from viewing this, but as you purchase the mineral, you can tell that the bag is sized in such a way that the mineral actually fills the bag where the product stacks better in your barn or at the store on the pallet, however you stack that product. So it will stack a little better and a little neater because of the bag size and changes that we've made there. So Todd, let's talk about, in our Co-op cattle mineral line, we have basically 3 categories of product that we want to talk about today. There's actually 4 that have been in our line. We'll talk about the 4th as we end up, and a new old product, I guess, that I will talk about that I think that our listening audience will be excited about. But let's first talk about the fact that we have the Balancer cattle mineral line, the Foundation cattle mineral line, and the Supreme cattle mineral line. So let's talk about the Balancers. First of all, when we say the Co-op cattle mineral Balancer minerals, what does that mean?
Basically, that line of feed is designed to be a mixing mineral, not necessarily a free choice mineral, but it's designed to be mixed with other feedstuffs. Perhaps it's byproducts, perhaps it's to spike a little extra calcium or something along from a major mineral perspective that the ration may call for. There are a lot of people, as you very well know, that will feed distillers, feed a lot of gluten feed. Those particular products are very high in phosphorus and need a little extra calcium, and the Balancer line is really perfect for that. Didn't change a lot of stuff in that. Basically, since it is a mixing mineral line, we don't put any colorant in it anymore, nor do we put any kind of an aromatic or a flavor or any of that type of an additive to it. So that would allow us to be able to maintain the high standard that we have for the nutrient profile in what we're trying to provide in the ration, but we're doing it at a better cost.
Exactly. And so one of the things about the Balancers that makes it nice on the farm is that they're formulated in such a way that the producer really has to make no real calculation. It's 50 pounds to the ton. So it works out where there's really no calculation at the farm. It's 1 bag to the ton of feed that you're mixing, and you're ready to go. So with the Balancer mineral, just to reiterate, Todd, really no changes to the nutrient profile. We have taken the added color and the added flavoring out such that it can be mixed, and those 2 things really didn't make any difference in a mixing type mineral to start with. So let's talk now about the Foundation mineral line. And within the Foundation mineral line, certainly we have pasture minerals, and we have fly control minerals, and also high mag minerals, all within that Foundation line. So talk about any updates that come with that as well.
We are updating that. We are increasing several of the levels of some of the minerals that we're providing. Specifically from a trace mineral perspective, we are increasing the amount of zinc, we're increasing the amount of manganese, we're increasing the amount of copper, and we are significantly increasing the amount of iodine and the amount of cobalt associated with that particular line. We're doing that for several different reasons, but number one, we think that when we match the forages here in the state of Tennessee, we think this gives us a very, very good match to be able to supplement what is necessary for our producers and for the cattle to be able to perform at that high level. The specifics on the iodine and the cobalt. Cobalt we know is a precursor to vitamin B12, which is very important to us. And so with the higher level of supplementation there, we have the substrate there to increase the status of B12 with the animal. The iodine aspect of it, we are increasing that for multiple reasons. We are a little bit above now the NRC or the standard that we want to have. I think before they had been right there at it, and we think that with some of the fescues, particularly with some of the forages and things that we have, that we might have enough antagonists in there to be able to increase, to be able to supply to the animal. And then of course the copper and the zinc. The zinc we think was very important, that we provide that high level of zinc for not only for the cow perspective, but also for the reproductive aspect of it, and also for the resulting calf as well too. Now all of these, I should add, on the foundation line, with the touch of just a little bit of organic iodine in there. They will all be inorganic sources. But when I say they're inorganic sources, there will be no oxides, but we will use the carbonates and we will use the sulfates, and like I said, just a little bit of EDDI for supplementing the iodine.
So with these changes, any change in the consumption rate or any change in the feeding rate that we recommend?
The only change that we will see, all of them are formulated, the basal minerals are formulated for 100 grams or 3.53 ounces. That's not changed. However, with our high mag line, we will be changing that. The NRC suggests in times of grass tetany or in times of magnesium interference that the preventative for that would be an extra 11 to 13 grams. So when you add that much more magnesium on top of already our 3.53 ounces, it will come up to 1/4 of a pound inclusion rate, or the 4-ounce level. So we will be decreasing from where the current high mag minerals are, from the 5.3 ounce consumption down to 1/4 of a pound.
Or 4 ounce.
Or 4 ounces.
So as we wind up the foundation line, let me reiterate that we will continue to have fly control minerals in the foundation line, high mag minerals in the foundation line, and straight pasture minerals within the foundation line. That is not changing. Todd, as we move into the Supreme line and to discuss some of the updates and changes with Supreme, before we do that, you mentioned something that I think our audience might want a little more explanation on, and maybe use sulfur, or whatever you want to, maybe use sulfur as an example. But when you mentioned an antagonist, and when we move into the Supreme line, we really have a great product that will, I guess, offset those antagonists, for lack of a better term. But just talk to us about what an antagonist is and how that affects the absorption of these minerals in the animal.
So in the presence of an antagonist, and in our area, we will have a couple. We will have obviously sulfur content in our forages. The higher the sulfur, the less opportunity for absorption of some of the trace minerals. Copper, for an example, would be one big one. We have a lot of limestone soils throughout the state, so we will have a concentration of a trace mineral called molybdenum, and molybdenum is a major antagonist to copper. And then of course we have some other instances, some of the higher calcium type forages or things like that. We have a lot of iron concentrations in a lot of our soils, so that gets into a lot of our forages. So a lot of the typical trace minerals that we want to supplement could be tied up or could be blocked from availability to the animal. So in our foundation line, we're going to take the oxides away and give us a little bit more opportunity for availability to the animal. However, they will be from an inorganic source, whereas our Supremes, even though we haven't got to that point yet, our Supremes would have an organic source to help that out.
So let's move into that point with the Supreme line. Let me remind those that are listening, within the Supreme line, we have pasture minerals, fly control minerals, and also high mag minerals within that line as well. So Todd, talk about some of the updates within the Supreme line and how those will help our cattle and our cattlemen make more money on the farm.
So our Supreme line will have the organic sources of these trace minerals. The levels that we're going to be formulating to will be the same. The same levels of copper, zinc, manganese that we see in the Foundation line will be the exact same in the Supreme line. The only difference will be our sources. And our sources, we will use organic tied trace minerals. We utilize the Zenpro products. So we will be utilizing the zinc protonated minerals from Zenpro, as well as the copper, as well as the manganese, as well as cobalt as well. Our iodine concentrations will be 100% from EDDI, which will be an organic source of iodine there. The only real difference that we would see between the Supreme line and the Foundation line, we will be providing a little more vitamin along with the Supreme line than what we see with the Foundation line. But from all practical purposes, the rest of them are going to be the same. The only difference there. Now, what we will do, we will actually have in the Supreme line, we will actually have 2 different sources of copper, zinc, and manganese. And what we will do is we will have the full complement that we're going to have with the organics, and then to spike the levels up, we will use the chlorides, the hydroxychlorides, which have been shown, research is pretty clear to show that those have high bioavailability, and we will spike those levels there. But the main thing is that, as I mentioned before about zinc, we think that's very important, obviously, for not only from immune response, but also for the cow, for reproduction. So with the Supreme line, we will have a full complement of organic zinc, as much as 360 milligrams of zinc from that organic source to get that very, very high level, to get that high efficacy of that particular trace mineral.
So a couple of things that I want to expand on. When you talk about our Supreme line, you mentioned that we were using the Zenpro product. A lot of people have heard, if you don't even know what it is, you've heard about Avela4, you've heard about a lot of the Zenpro items. But Zenpro has a program now called Zenpro Verified. So these minerals in the Supreme line will be Zenpro Verified. Talk a little bit about what that Zenpro verification means as I see that little Zenpro symbol on our feed tag.
Yeah, that will be on our Supreme line of mineral. And essentially what that is the Zenpro Verified is that we formulate, or we include those organics at the Zenpro Corporation's recommendation. And with all of the animal research that they have done, they have a very good handle on some of the responses at these particular levels. And all of the levels that we are incorporating, there is some type of research to back that up or to support those levels that we're putting. So we're not just sticking something in there just simply to put some tag dressing on. And like I mentioned before, for an example, zinc, which we think is very important, we will have a full 360 milligrams of zinc through our Supreme lines that will elicit the best responses for that. So the Zenpro verification just simply says that we are at their recommended levels.
That's right. So just one more thought before we move on to another product. As a cattleman, and the cattlemen are out there, the goal is to have a calf every 12 months. And so with our Co-op Supreme cattle mineral line, you're doing everything possible, give that cow every opportunity to cycle, to get bred, and to have that calf and to get bred back. You're giving that cow every opportunity to reach its genetic potential. Would you agree with?
Correct. And that's the main focus. We want a calf every 365 days. And that's when we're at the most efficient with our cows. And that gives us the best opportunity for a monetary return on them, is to be able to have that calf. That's what we're in business for, is to be able to have a calf out of that cow. So we wanted to provide every opportunity for that animal to breed and to be able to enjoy that type of reproductive success.
And all of that at a reasonable cost.
Correct. That's the main thing. We want to be able to have something that we can provide the producer that can supply that to their animals and be able to afford it as well too.
So, speaking about cow-calf operations and meeting that genetic potential, and now let's talk about going maybe to another level. And as we reintroduce our Supreme Cow Repro mineral, and some of us that go back a few years, several years now, I would say, Todd, over 25 or more, when we had our Supreme Cow Repro mineral. We are reintroducing that product. It is on the market today. If you're looking for an item number, it's 96678. And so, Todd, talk a little bit about the Supreme Cow Repro mineral and how different it is from some of the other products, and pretty excited about bringing that back.
So we have reintroduced the original Cow Repro mineral, which I'll start off with. The major mineral is a true 2-to-1 with a very high phosphorus level. That'll be the full 8% phosphorus that shows and will give us the most opportune for that major mineral for reproductive success. And I know the University of Tennessee, both our alma maters, have always talked a lot about the 2-to-1s and whether or not we've got enough phosphorus in the available to the animal. Now, most of our soils do provide a complement of forage phosphorus, but there are those instances where you do need that extra. Not only that, from the major mineral perspective, but we are also increasing the levels of trace minerals. We are also increasing the levels of vitamins. So if we have that real high intense reproductive situation, whether it is we are doing some flushing, or whether we have severe antagonists, or whether we have a real high demand on the reproduction of the cow or the bull for that matter, then we are providing the utmost availability at the highest level.
Okay, so we're reintroducing the Cow Repro mineral, and I think there are a lot of cow-calf producers that could really get a lot of benefit from this particular product. If you have any questions about that product, see your local co-op, and we'll be glad to get you the answers to those questions. So one other thing we need to talk about, Todd, in our line that before these updates, we had the Co-op Ultimate minerals. Because of these updates, and because of what it does for us, and because of reintroducing the Supreme Cow Repro, the Ultimate minerals will go away. So just wanted any comments about.
There would really be no reason to have something like that. With the updates that we've got, particularly through the Supreme line, there really would be no call to have that Ultimate mineral. And then subsequently with the reintroduction of the Supreme Cow Repro, the Ultimate mineral would not measure up from a fortification perspective. So there would really be no reason to have that. As a matter of fact, you would be much better off from a value perspective, a dollar value perspective, going with the Supreme line. And then if you needed that extra, then you've got the the Cal Repro mineral, which would have much more fortification.
So Todd, one other thing that we want to talk about is our diluent that's used in the mineral. So explain just a little bit about the changes that we've done there.
So one of the things that we are doing, we are a pasture-based cow operation here within the state of Tennessee. So one of the things that we are doing is we are incorporating our yeast product in all of our mineral. That would include the Foundation line, that would include the Supreme line, would also include the Cal Repro line. Now our yeast product that we have, it's a two-facet product where we utilize yeast culture, and then we also will utilize a direct fed microbial. And we will be incorporating that in all of those lines of feeds.
So that will just enhance the Foundation line and the Supreme line and the Supreme Cal Repro product. That will enhance that product as well. So as we recap, just know that we are updating the balancer minerals by taking the flavoring and the coloring out. We are updating the Foundation minerals to increase some of the minerals that are in there, but they will be from inorganic sources. The Supreme minerals will be all organic and be Zenpro verified, and then reintroducing the Supreme Cal Repro, which is a true 2-to-1 calcium phosphorus product, but has an 8% phosphorus product in there. And then our diluent is also changing by using and incorporating our yeast product. So with that, if you have any questions about Co-op cattle mineral, please contact your local co-op. I encourage you to buy and try the new updated cattle minerals. I know that you'll like them, and I'll know that you'll like the price. Have a good day.